Welcome to UK Virtual School, a school without walls.
Hola, hi guys. So this is year 4 to year 6 Spanish, Español, and today we are learning the months, and we're also learning how to say our birthday, which is quite cool, I think, if somebody asks you, yeah? Hang on, let me just share my screen with you. Okay, we are ready to start. Entonces, hoy vamos a aprender cuándo es tu cumpleaños. ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? Okay, so let's just break this down. So please make sure that you copy the title in your notebooks. All you have to copy from this slide will be the title. Okay, so the title up here. Remember to add your upside down question mark. Cuando, which is when. Es is to your cumpleaños birthday. So in other words, when is your birthday? ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? I really like the way cumpleaños has this little thingy on top of it, and it makes it sound like ños, not nos, ños. So it's like there is this I right next to N. Okay, don't worry too much about the alphabet because that's what we're learning next time. Okay, so you don't have to copy. Excuse me, you don't have to copy en qué fecha naciste o en qué mes naciste. I don't think that's necessary. However, if you're feeling that you are more advanced and you can write more stuff, then write en qué fecha naciste, so which means what date were you born in. En qué mes naciste, so mes is the month. Los meses, so los meses es lo que vamos a aprender hoy. Okay. Ahora, lo que vamos a hacer ahora es, vamos a calcular, no sé si te gustan las matemáticas, a mí me gustan a veces no, depende, pero vamos a ver 13 y 5, you don't have to copy this in your notebook. No hay razón, you don't have to. You can just, think about the calculations and just basically write what you think the answer is. So 13 y 5. So last time we learned the numbers, right? So now hopefully you are able to, add these two numbers up. 13 y 5, 11 y 2, 19. So this is your first task for today, a sort of revision basically of what we did the previous time. Okay. Pause the video now, as I always say, pause the video now, okay? And then come back once you're ready. So start it again when you're ready, when you have all of your answers. So before I pause the video, let me just give you instructions for the second task. So empareja los números con las letras. So what you have to do is think about the numbers, and those numbers, have. So let me just make this red for you. Yeah, you can see that. So tengo 14 años, tengo 13 años, tengo 18 años, tengo 20 años. Entonces, vamos a ver, si tengo 14 años, basically means I am that years old. So you're going to have to guess what 14, 13, 18 y 20 is, and then you're going to have to match it up. No reason to copy all of this in your notebook, as I said. Just, you can, just to keep track of what we're doing, you can just write uno and then a, dos, no sé, lo que sea. Now pause the video because I'm going to go through the answers, okay? 13 y 5 es, vamos a ver, 18. So 13 plus 5 is 18, right? So 18. 11 y 2 es 13. So 11 plus 2 is 13. 19. This is quite easy because what happens with 16, 17, 18, 19 is we just have number 10, 10, and then we add the number. So 19. So 16, 16, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now let's have a look at the second one. So these are the answers. So tengo 14 años is 14. Tengo 13 años Tengo 13 años es de 13. Tengo 18 años, that is 18. And then tengo 20 años, 20. And now the challenge of the day, ¿cómo se dicen en español? I am 17 years old. So now that you know, tengo, I have. Then you got the number and then the years, años. So now that you know that, how would somebody say tengo, I am 17 years old? Notice this funny little thing in Spanish. We don't say I am 17 years old. We say I have 17 years old. It's just, those funny little things about each language, right? So I am 17 years old. That should be tengo 17 años. And now if you remember when we said, ¿cómo estás? I am good. Muy bien, ¿ok? ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien. Perfecto. Ahora, los deberes due next week. So your homework for next week. So you're going to have to learn the numbers 1 hasta 31 and months for a mini quiz. Always remember that when you're learning a language, you need to practice saying and writing vocabulary little and often. Never try to learn everything at once, because that makes very, very hard. Once you've learned it, you can test yourself. Okay, so escribimos, repetimos, escuchamos, repetimos y hablamos. Muy bien. For those of you that don't remember, 20 is 20, 21, 22. So notice how 20 becomes 21. So becomes I for the rest of them, and they are together. Now, 30 will be 40, and then we have 31, 32, 33, but you only have to learn hasta up to 31, okay? So in case you haven't got this in your book for some reason, I'm gonna give them to you on the homework sheet. So you're gonna have a list of the numbers on that, okay? So you can find them there, or you can just copy 30, 31 ahora, si te gusta, okay? Ahora, vamos a ver. ¿Puedo hablar de mi cumpleaños? Can I speak about my birthday? So can I say, when my birthday is? Now, the previous time, I think we talked a little bit about cognates when we were looking at numbers. So cognates are basically words that are very, very similar in English and in Spanish. So let's have a look. So firstly, I'm going to use a highlighter to highlight. So pause the video, have a go through them and see if you can find some months that are the same, very, very similar, not the same, but very similar in English and in Spanish. So let me see. Okay, I've got Octubre, which reminds me of October. I've got Febrero, like February. Agosto, that reminds me of August. Mayo, May. So it's almost like May, you just add an O here, right? Julio, junio, so June, July, junio, julio, septiembre. Okay, that's quite easy so far. Diciembre, noviembre, marzo, if it reminds you of March, that is March, and abril. So I'm just going to go ahead and give a heart to noviembre, because that's when my birthday is. Mi cumpleaños es en noviembre. And the only weird one that we got is enero. Now, enero is January. Okay, so now that we know that enero is the first month, January, enero, can you pause the video and put the months in order? So what comes after enero? So add your numbers in front of that, and then you can, copy you can copy the months now, or you can just wait for me to go through them one by one in a minute, and then you can just, copy them when I do that. So if you know that enero is January, what is number 2? Again, like I said, pause, and then I'm going to go through the answers now. Enero, después tenemos febrero, número 2, febrero, número 3 es marzo, número 4 es abril, número 5 es, so enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, después julio. So just check that you got the right numbers. Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, my personal favorite month, agosto, después tenemos septiembre, back to school, octubre, and notice how octubre, just like in English, doesn't have an M here, does it? So just like in English, we have septembre, septiembre, noviembre, diciembre. So these 3 months have an M, but octubre, no, okay? Just like in English, same thing. Octubre, noviembre, mi cumpleaños y diciembre. Eso es, perfecto. Ahora, por favor, please, make sure that you got that order. If not, don't worry too much about it because I'm going to go through them in a minute again, okay? Now, vamos a ver. Before I go through the months one by one, I just want to make sure that we start listening for these tricky sounds. So we are aware of the tricky sounds that we got in Spanish. So, for example, we've got this sound, just like think. So which letter would that be? Eso es zeta. So azul, por ejemplo, which is light blue. Or the. So there are 2 different letters in Spanish that can produce the the sound. So the, before an e or an i, por ejemplo, 0 o 5, 0, 5. So I know that when I got e or i after the, I pronounce it as a th. Now that's interesting because if we look at the, ABC, as a letter, it can also have this like cake sound, but this happens only before an a, an o, or an u. Okay, now I'm just gonna head and get rid of one little mistake that I've made here. So that's just wrong here. Ignore that bit. So, por ejemplo, 14. So because I have this a, because I got a here, right? I know that before an a, the is going to be pronounced as a k, 14. I also know that after an u, cuatro, like number 4, remember, cuatro. So again, here I pronounce it as a ku. I know this sounds like, whoa, what's that? Like, do I have to think about it each time? No, guys, trust me, it comes naturally after a certain point, and we're going to practice this using phonics the next time, okay? And we're going to practice it even more when we learn the alphabet, the whole alphabet. Okay, so now I've gone through the th sound. Now, one thing you need to remember, which makes it quite easy, is that the h, the h, is always silent. Like we say hola. Remember how I never said hola? No, that doesn't work. So hola. So except when it comes after a ese. So chocolate, just like in English, we would say church, right? So chocolate, same thing. So nothing weird here. I think we are very happy with this. With h, it makes perfect sense, just like in English. Now we've got the h sound like house. So this is the letter J, is how we say it. And once you've learned the alphabet and you know that this is J, you will always want to use it to say hijo, for example. You will remember that this is J, just like G. So before an E or an I, we say genial or magia. And of course, we've got Q. So, ¿por qué 15? So this is Q, just like in English, I think, yeah, we say quit, ¿por qué? So same sound, basically. Again, I'm just going to say, don't worry if this feels like too much, okay? Because definitely at some point you will just start remembering all of this. So let's have a look. We've got enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. Vamos a ver. Now, let's see if you can guys remember, because I've said them a few times by now. Let's see if you can remember how to say this sound, how to say the months, yeah? Aquí tenemos enero, okay, muy bien, aquí tenemos enero. Now, if you didn't take a moment to copy everything in your notebook before, please do that. So copy the months in order, okay. I'm pretty sure that the only one that you will have to translate is possibly enero, because the rest of them are cognates and they're quite easy to understand. Entonces, enero, después tenemos, oh, the month with well, where we got the Valentines, right? So tenemos febrero, enero, febrero. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that up for a sec if you need to copy it. Enero, febrero, and always remember you can pause and just practice saying it. Remember, repetimos, escribimos, escuchamos, repetimos, escribimos y hablamos. Okay, so repetimos, we say it again and again. Febrero. Marzo. Notice what we said about this th sound. So theta, marzo. Después tenemos llueve aquí. It's raining, llueve. Abril. Notice how Abril, we don't say April or April. It's not a P, it's a B. Okay, Abril. Mayo. Such a beautiful month, okay? Mayo aquí. Junio. Me gusta mucho junio. Julio. July, julio. Agosto. Entonces, vamos a repetir enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, vamos a la escuela, we're going to school, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. Muy bien, okay. Notice how septiembre, there's an E, not septiembre, okay? So make sure that you've got your spellings right. Noviembre, diciembre, okay. The rest of it is, I think, very similar to English. Just please remember where you add E or E for the Spanish ones, because I know you're used to December and all of it is E. I know you're used to the E being before the R for each of these months, but notice how in Spanish we say diciembre, and that's R-E, okay. Entonces, vamos a ver. So I'm just going to point to a month and hopefully you will remember which month that is. Aquí, ¿cuál mes es? ¿Cuál mes tenemos aquí? Perdón. Eso es septiembre o diciembre. You might have guessed it, diciembre. Aquí, este mes. ¿Cuál mes es este? Ok, vamos a ver. So it has to be a summer month. En el verano, eso es junio, julio o agosto. Vamos a comer helado, so we are going to eat ice cream. Supongo que es agosto. Ok, agosto. Vamos a ver, aquí con las flores. Oh, me gustan mucho. Aquí tenemos marzo o mayo. Aquí tenemos mayo. Ok, y aquí tenemos abril o febrero. Aquí tenemos febrero. Okay, so you can just leave this slide up and pause my video and just practice going through each of them like in random order and just say it and then check if you've said the right thing. So that's a good way to practice that. Vamos a ver otra vez. So now see if you can pause and just go through the months before I go through them. Okay, so let's have a look. Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre y diciembre. Eso es. Muy bien. Check your spelling again. Listen to me saying the months again and just practice just to make sure you got them right. Ahora, vamos a ver. We're going to practice. I'm going to give you a random date and I want you to pause and think about when that person's birthday is. So before we do that, please make sure that you have copied ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? If you haven't done so, that was the title of the lesson. When is your birthday? And now we're learning how to respond to that. Mi cumpleaños es mi cumpleaños, my birthday, mi cumpleaños es de blah blah. I'm going to give you this as an example. El 13, so you can see 13 here, es el 13 de enero. So I'm just going to leave this up for a sec. Please, please, please copy the answer. Mi cumpleaños es el... And what you can do is just leave it blank so you can complete it with your own birthday date. Again, pause, take your time, make sure you've copied it correctly, make sure your spelling is in place, and then you can just move on to the next activity. Muy bien, vamos a ver. So I've gone through that one. ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? So now I want you to say it out loud, even if you're alone and it sounds silly, you guys going, just speaking Spanish on your own. This is how we learn though. So, ¿cuándo es tu cumpleaños? Mi cumpleaños es el de... So here we have the 2nd of, pretty sure this is July, isn't it? Yeah. Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio. Okay, so aquí tenemos, so pause and write the date, el 2 de julio. El 2 de julio, muy bien. Aquí, ¿cuándo es tu cumpleaños? ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? Mi cumpleaños es el 30, so 30, I don't know if you guys remember 30, el 30 de diciembre, okay, el 30 de diciembre. And now, please, please, please make sure that you take a moment to write your own birthday. ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? Okay, make sure you copy this and ask other people, ¿cuándo es tu cumpleaños? And when they tell you when the birthday is, they might not speak Spanish, but you can tell them when the birthday is in Spanish. How cool is that? All right, so ask them and respond. Eso es, muchas gracias, chicos y chicas. Hasta la próxima. Hasta la vista. Adiós.
Welcome to UK Virtual School, a school that thinks differently.